Well, every Friday we are joined by our legal expert, Phil Harding from Harding & Associates. But let me tell you why he is our expert. For 5 years in a row now, he's been named one of the top 100 trial lawyers in Colorado. He's also been named a super lawyer again this year. Here's his picture right there in the middle. And at the end of 2012, Newsweek named him as a top lawyer, and they've done that again for you. Also, USA Today sought him out as a legal expert when they were covering the Aurora theater shootings. Very impressive, Phil. Very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
nice
you.
work.
Good morning.
Nice work. We love having you on Colorado's Best. And every Friday, it's like you kind of take us through a little bit of law school, which we love.
Well, yeah, it's a law school for the layperson.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love doing that. I want everyone to know that many of my past segments are here on Colorado's Best. And they can learn about everything from the First Amendment discussions to what to do after an accident to how to deal with insurance companies, the different types of courts, and maybe you remember a lot of those that we've gone through.
Absolutely.
And I feel that we have the most educated viewers here, and I love that. I love that they're so educated.
Yeah, people who watch Colorado's Best, they know what's going on out there.
Absolutely.
And they want to know more. So, you know, and I wanted to remind you, you know, you have your website, but you also, if you want to see some of his past segments, you can go to our website, coloradosbest.tv, and just put Harding in the little search thing, and you'll see all of the segments. You can check them out. So, you know, we're talking today about being a juror. Now, some people, like myself, I consider that a privilege, an honor to be on a jury. I've never been chosen for a jury, which is a bummer, but a lot of people, they try to avoid it. They don't want to be a jury member.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. First, let's talk about the jury system.
Okay.
And it only works if we have unbiased people on a jury. And unfortunately, we live here in the information age. So some people get some of the story, but not all of the story, and then they go to court with these biases.
Sure. Yeah, they've read one side and they, you know, maybe have made up their mind. But how do you decide, you know, if that jury member has the potential of being unbiased? Like, because they're, you know, they're going to hear both sides now.
Absolutely.
In the trial.
And one of the things that I like to go through is some biases that people have and what they look at. And first of all, we're going to be talking about jury, and it sounds like it's boring, but don't change the channel. Because seriously, this is so important, and it's one of our fundamental rights. But let's talk about a couple cases that everyone knows about. The McDonald's hot coffee case.
Right.
Who doesn't know about that?
Yeah, the little lady who spilled the very hot coffee down here. It burned her horribly.
Right. And so there is what happened. And I'm telling you, don't listen to what I say. Look it up yourself. Her name is Lieback, New Mexico. And before trial, she offered $90,000 to try and settle this case. She had to go to trial, and you hear about this $3 million verdict. But they have caps down in New Mexico, like they have here. So really, she was only awarded $90,000 in compensatory damages. And then that $3 million shrunk down into $270,000. And then the other thing that people hear about, and I talk to jurors about this all the time, they think that the U.S. is #1 per capita of attorneys. And that's not true as well, because in most civilized countries, they have two different categories of attorneys. They have, for example, barristers and solicitors. And remember, the barristers go before court and the solicitors don't. But here in the U.S., anyone that passes the bar has a license to practice before a court of law, even though they may not, and most people don't, but they still count everyone in the U.S. But like, for example, in Italy, in England, in Japan, they only count the barristers. So really, when you look into that, we're 7th.
That's why it's looking like, you know, we have so many compared to everyone else.
Right.
Okay.
But let's talk about the jury system.
Okay.
And so you're probably wondering, where does the right to a jury come from?
Yeah, because it is our right as a U.S. citizen.
It's our right.
Yeah.
And what it is, the Bill of Rights to the U.S. Constitution talks about a right to a jury trial. The 6th Amendment applies to criminal cases, and I want to talk about the 7th Amendment, which applies to civil cases, and it says in suits at common law, where the value in controversy exceeds $20. Remember, this was written back in well, it was ratified in 1791, but again, they're talking about $20. It says the right of a trial by a jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined by any court. In other words, they're saying, we don't want a judge to take this away. And this is so important. This is in our Bill of Rights. This is the 7th Amendment. Remember, the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution here talk about our rights. We have the freedom of speech, of press, the right to bear arms, and this is in there, and people need to embrace this and love this, because this is what's made the U.S. great. I mean, we
Right,
get...
and if really, if you consider the flip side of it, I mean, if you are ever on trial, don't you want, a member of your peers helping judge that case? I mean, you want that as, if you're on trial. So why wouldn't you want to, on the flip side, be a very good jury member and provide that to your peer, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and you don't want to be by some judge who's seen thousands of cases and been jaded by all of this. We've all hear about quid pro quo,
Yeah.
and that means this for that. The quid is we have the Seventh Amendment right to get a jury to hear it. The quo is you may be called to be a juror, and you should embrace it. You should love it. We all love our freedom of speech. We all love the right to bear arms. We all love freedom of religion, all of that. We should also embrace and love our right to be heard by jurors of our peers that are unbiased, and that is so important. We need to go through that. We need to have that discussion because it also shows you what's going on in the jury system.
Absolutely. I love this perspective. I mean, it really, helps us understand that, embrace it. Don't avoid being a jury member.
Absolutely.
Now, if you have any legal questions for Phil, he wants to hear from you. Just log on to coloradosbest.tv, look for his photo there, click on it. You can submit your own legal questions. He does take the time to answer them all personally, and he might even address your question right here on Colorado's Best. And if you'd like to contact Phil at his office, Harding & Associates, here's the number, 303-762-9500, or you can go online to hlaw.org. Well, coming up.